Welcome to the Lounge with Travefy Academy, where we get to hear from travel industry voices and experts to learn more about their story and what they see on the horizon for travel professionals. And I'm Stephanie Grice, and our guest today is Amber Zakem, who's owner of House Social. So welcome to the Lounge, Amber. We're so excited to have you today.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I know this is exciting, and we've collaborated before, but it's been like years. I think it was kind of in the height of that pandemic thing happening, and so
Yeah.
it's been a couple years.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, so I'm excited to be back and talking all things social today.
I know you're great at this. For those listeners right now, she even just told me a tip, like when we post about this on our social media to collaborate. I was like, wait a minute, that is why we need to chat because there's so many things that I don't even know because there's so many new things all the time. So really excited to chat with you. But before we get into all of that, can you just first share, how did you get in the industry? How did you fall into social media? How did it all come to be for you?
Yeah, so it was definitely like not my route originally out of college. I actually have an undergrad degree in history, so I thought I was going to work in museums. And funny enough, out of college, I was looking for a job, and one of my family friends owns a travel agency in Wisconsin. And so I begged her for a job, hoping that I could come in and do anything for, just to get my feet wet in the working world. And so that was fall of 2014. And because I was the youngest person in the office, they said, "Hey, why don't you take over our social media? We would love to get like more of a presence online." And from there, I ended up staying. I actually worked with this travel agency until the owners retired, which was 2 years ago at this point. And while working there, I got a job with Mass Travel Network, which I know you're very familiar with, and worked with them for 5 years as their social media manager. And in 2021, I decided to go out on my own and start House Social. So that is a social media marketing agency where we work with travel agents, but also other small businesses. And so since 2021, I have been my niche, I would say, is small businesses. So working with a lot of travel professionals, but also in the hospitality realm, real estate, retail, and, like social media, it's ever evolving.
Yeah, that's so cool. And yeah, that's how we originally met was through like the mast. And so shout out to them. Super really cool. And so when we're talking like social media, like so you really have to stay up on all the changes because you have people relying on you to get results and all of that. So what would you say are the top things a travel advisor should be doing to maximize their social media presence?
That's a really good question. And, on the topic of ever evolving, changing, it's super important to kind of stay up to date because things change so often in social media. And we're always kind of playing around with, okay, what's working now is not going to work in 6 months, and what worked 6 months ago isn't going to work today. So being on top of staying, informed about the Meta slash Instagram algorithm is super, super important. I wouldn't say it's the most important because as we'll talk today, I want to talk about a little bit about, practice versus, what they are saying is the most important, because if something's working for you, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do exactly what the algorithm says. However, if you're starting out, if you're not seeing a lot of success, if you're posting but not reaching a lot of people, then it is definitely time to do a little education in the algorithm. So it's always changing. And the best ways to stay up to date are just simply following experts. So I love a site called Social Media Examiner. They also have a podcast, they have an Instagram page, and they do updates constantly. They're always talking about what's new in social media. They're always talking about the ways to expand your reach, ideas. It's like a mecca for all things social. And so that is where I go to on top of, a bunch of other educational platforms to find out the latest and greatest. Um, but like I said, what's working, in the algorithm might not be what's best for you and your business. So it's kind of a balance. You always have to kind of strike that, what am I supposed to be doing versus what is actually working? And that's social media in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's like always changing. That's really cool. I took a note of that, so I'll have to throw that in the show notes, the Social Media Examiner, and check that out for myself because it is so crazy. Would you say that? I mean, social media has always been evolving, but would you say it's evolving even more and faster over the past few years?
Absolutely. I think I kind of like to compare it to fashion. We see trends come and go so quickly in fashion now. And I think that in large part is due to the internet. And so social media is the exact same. Obviously, it's the internet itself. And we're seeing things come and go so quickly because things blow up. And then it's just kind of like anything else. As soon as something becomes quote unquote cool, people are over it and they want the next thing. And so we're seeing that in social media, I would say rapidly since the pandemic for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting. I was like, I feel like it's changed so much so fast anymore. But the one thing though that is kind of nice is that there's certain pieces of content that have I've noticed are still trending and they've been trending pretty well for a while. And one of those is video. Would you agree with that? That video seems like it's been pretty good for a couple years now.
Absolutely. I call video the king of content. So if you aren't doing video, you're definitely putting yourself at a disadvantage. It should be a part of your marketing plan at this point. I know, I've been doing this now for this fall, it'll be 10 years. And so when we first started out, it was, oh, should we be putting video in? Oh, let's work it in as much as we can to, okay, start dipping your toe into video. And now we're talking like, you need to be doing video. It's just something that's absolutely essential to a social media marketing plan. And I think one thing that stops people a lot of times is that it's intimidating. It's scary to be on camera, but it's also scary to not know how to use all of the different tools that are out there. And so I fully resonate with that. I'm not a Gen Z, so the creation of video, that TikTok style video isn't something that like I feel I grew up on. It's something that I had to go back, especially in my career now, and learn. And it's something that I work with. I have employees that do a lot of TikToks for me that are 20, 25, and I love that. It's great. But the nice thing about video is you can make it your own. So whatever you're comfortable with in terms of video, that's what you should be doing, at least starting off. So whether that's being on camera, doing a green screen, taking photos and videos while you're traveling and, putting them all together, doing a tutorial where you're just kind of doing the voiceover, whatever that is, whatever your comfortability level is, that's how you start out. And then from there, as you get more comfortable talking on camera, being on camera, using the tools that it requires to create video, that's where you can expand and you'll continue to evolve just like social media does.
Yeah, that is really cool. And one other thing too, and I know that you're going to share some of your tools that you like to use, but isn't there ways too that you can, like, let's say you do go on a trip and you take videos and photos, don't they make almost like video templates that you could start to pop it into to make that easier?
Totally. So even just TikTok and Reels have templates that you can use. And you don't even have to download an additional. I know if anyone's like me, I don't love to have to download like 8 different apps to do one thing. And so the platforms themselves are really great about providing that for you. And I love to use them. I think that they're awesome resources within TikTok or Instagram or even Facebook Reels. So if you want to start out and say, like, I don't want to download all of these tools, but I would love to use a template, start there for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say the template. I've only made it because I'm with you on the eight, like we're millennials, and unfortunately we are more on the photo side. I feel like that we
Yes.
grew up, the
Yes.
Instagram was coming out, and that's where I hang now. And so it's the videos like, whoa. And so I've made a couple, and I did find the templates were way easier. And I also still just use like the travel. That's the cool thing with this industry. We have the easiest stuff to put on social media because travel is like it's beautiful. You can do so many different photos, different videos. So why not? So really cool.
Absolutely. I always say that the travel industry was made for social media. Everything is beautiful, everything is exciting, everything is colorful. And so we really have just like this leg up when it comes to creating content, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. Okay, so I have another question here. And sorry, I might be pulling you all in different directions, but this is super popular. AI. What was AI all about in social media? Like, what's happening there?
Totally. So I know, much like video, AI can definitely be intimidating, but once you start using it, you are going to breathe a sigh of relief because it can truly transform the way you approach marketing, how you kind of get to um, make time for marketing, especially social media marketing. And so it's definitely that work smarter, not harder type of tool. And, you know, we have so many advancements in technology. And obviously, anyone that is listening to this has had a lifetime of watching different technologies transform over the years. I mean, even the internet itself. And I think one question that I talk about a lot with travel agents is AI going to take over the travel industry and eliminate travel agents? And to that, I say, absolutely not. We've already seen the booking engine sites. We've already seen different resources available for travelers, and they are still using travel agents. And AI is the exact same scenario. It's one of those things where a travel agent, much like myself, because obviously AI is something that could definitely take over social media marketing. The more comfortable you get with it, the better you're at using AI. You are going to be the expert in that, and then you are going to be able to use it to make your job easier, but also show yourself even more as an expert. So my biggest tips for AI are to become really, really good at it. Use it, manipulate the words to kind of get exactly what you're looking for, learn all of the different keys to kind of getting the ultimate resource out of it. So for me, I use ChatGPT a lot, but I know there are other AI out there, and there's definitely some for travel agents specifically, I'm sure. But what I focus on is getting really good at training ChatGPT to give me the ideas right in the tone that I want, give me the type of tools and ideas that I am looking for. Sometimes, I was just talking actually with my in-laws, and I said, I have right now 16 clients. And that means for the most part, most of them have 3 posts a week on various social media platforms, which means I'm working at about 45 plus ideas every week that I need to be putting out on social media. So sometimes you just get blocked. You just don't have a creative moment. And so you can go to ChatGPT and put in, give me 5 creative ideas for a travel agency specializing in destination weddings. And it's going to give you 5 ideas. And maybe 4 of them are stuff that like you don't want to work with, but there's one in there that sparks your idea, sparks your creativity, and you go, oh, that's kind of fun. Actually, I could do it like this. And then you can expand on it. You use it as the tool to kind of jumpstart your creativity. And for me, because I work from home and I have a team, but I'm not always collaborating with them in a creative sense on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes working from home, you lose that kind of just getting to chat and spark ideas with your team, your coworkers. ChatGPT kind of gives you that same brainstorming session that you might lose if you work from home or work for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. ChatGPT I love it. I use it as well. And I'll put it in the show notes that we actually did a webinar not too long, a couple months ago, about different ways to use it. And social media is like one of the best ones. And I use it constantly because you're so right. I mean, it's very, very easy to get blocked. I also think writing the text in the post is like one of the hardest things for me a lot of times because I'm like, wait, does that sound good? And so I use ChatGPT to kick off what I should be writing. And just like what you said, it's all about the prompts of like mention like you are this person talking to this person. Like this is I want to be sure. And a lot of times, sometimes like the posts are like way too long. So I'm just like, can you do that and make it like one sentence? And
Yes.
so I love that you can just continuously keep re-asking it to redo it until you get to what you're looking for. So that's a great way when you're not as familiar with it, that it's just incredible and it's free. It's so cool. It's amazing. And I haven't tried these ones, but there's some that will tell. Well, I guess you could use ChatGPT to ask for a video. Like say, like, can you put together like a TikTok video and just tell me what I need to do and what to write on it?
Totally.
Like,
Yeah,
so cool.
you could definitely use ChatGPT for that kind of, tell me, you could ask it to tell you like the type of clips to add in for a TikTok video about traveling to Ireland. Like there's definitely a way to kind of use any of the AI features that you're comfortable with to get the results that you're looking for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, love AI. And also you mentioned like different the resources and stuff I know too, and like Social Media Examiner, but those are definitely ones to check out because that's what I've learned a lot too. And that's ever evolving too. It's getting better and better. And so it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff out there where you can look up like what are the prompts for social media or, and they kind of lay them out for you that helps. So lots of great resources out there. So I love that. But another question I have for you, because I know this gets brought up a lot when we're talking social media with travel advisors, because a lot of times, just the time that they have to give to it, or they don't really like, they're like, oh my gosh, it's just another thing I need to spend time testing and doing. So when it comes to deciding what channels you should be focusing on, how do you recommend figuring that out? Like, should they focus on one or try them all, or what do you recommend?
This is a really good question. And it's funny that you asked that because this morning I just saw a conversation between a social media manager and a client that asked a very similar question. And something social media managers are often saying is it depends. And so this is a case where it completely depends on, what platforms you're already on, what amount of time you actually have, and what's working for you. So if we're going to go very baseline, if I'm meeting someone they just started a business and they want my tips, I would say always start with Facebook and Instagram. Those are, we used to call Facebook like our hub social media site, but I think Instagram is also kind of evolving into that as well because basically everyone's on it. Young people, old people, professionals, students, like every single person that you meet, my grandma's on Instagram. So like everyone is on Instagram, everyone is on Facebook. I would say the younger generations aren't as much on Facebook anymore, but there are some reasons that younger people have to be on Facebook. So I think it's one of those things that is going to be a resource for years and years to come. So I would say start with Facebook and Instagram. And with that, you have the opportunity to do a lot of different content because you can do, a static image, one image post. You can do a carousel of multiple images. You can do reels on both platforms. And then from there, if you feel like you're growing, your pages are getting engagement, you are getting in front of the people you want to get in front of people, and then you're looking to take something else on. The question is, what purpose is it going to serve? And, how is it going to be integrated into your other social media platforms, but also kind of stand on its own in terms of like why you're adding another platform? Because, if you're doing really well on Instagram Reels, then maybe you do want to expand into TikTok because you want to hit a different audience. Maybe you have found success. You sell a lot of group trips and you have found success posting on Facebook about your group trips, considering doing Pinterest because a lot of people go to Pinterest to find travel. It really depends on your goals. And so anytime we are talking social media, we want to talk about why are we posting something? Who are we trying to target? And, what is our overall goal? And so those are the kind of things you want to ask yourself when you're getting on a platform as well.
Yes, I'm so glad you said Pinterest because that is one of those ones, and I'm on it all the time personally. I still love it. It did not go anywhere. I feel like it got kind of like quiet about it, but then it's like picking back up, and I hear and the people that it's like a silent like big thing because there's people who do it and they're like, oh yeah, like it works so well for me. And you can just schedule like pins and it's kind of like there's just it's again like that algorithm, like you're just pushing out more stuff. Like I don't know, it's really interesting. So I'm glad you said Pinterest because that's a big one.
I love Pinterest, and a lot of my clients are very like wary about adding
Yeah.
Pinterest, but I push for it a lot because I think that even though most social media now is turning into more of a search engine as opposed to social media, Pinterest was the original social media search engine. It's where we went to like look up recipes or save photos for our future wedding album or, honeymoon travel. And so I push for Pinterest all the time because there is real success there. And there is so much in terms of like usability that the other platforms just don't have. You can do so much with Pinterest because it's not like Facebook where if you're sharing a link they're going to, limit how many people are going to see you because they don't want link sharing. Pinterest wants you to post an image or a video. They want you to add your link in, they want a description, they want you to add in all those great keywords. So it's like if social media never had evolved, but in like the best way possible, because it's all of the good things we've had over the years that just like never went away on that platform.
Yeah. I know. It's really cool. It's like, wow, why not use that? Which is really
Exactly.
cool. And
Exactly.
oh, sorry. I was just gonna say too, we have so many exciting things. I was gonna say too with Pinterest, like, so can you schedule stuff with that? Like, is that very similar? Like, if you use, so I know with Facebook and Instagram, you have Meta Business Suite, so you can kind of do both of those platforms in one place.
Mhm.
But for something like Pinterest, like, are there special platforms out there that you can use?
Yeah, so Pinterest itself, you can schedule within. So if you're someone that likes to be able to just kind of schedule within the platform itself, that's always an option. But if you're someone, who wants everything in one place, there are definitely scheduling platforms. There's one that I used for years called Later. That's a really good one. It has, every social media platform you could think of. I truly have found that, and I'm doing it on a much larger scale, obviously, than the typical person, because obviously, if you're owning a business and you're doing your own social media, you're just worried about one business's social media. I'm doing it obviously a little bit of a larger scale. So for me, I have found that the platforms themselves give higher recognition to posts that are being scheduled within their own platform. So that's something that I try to do as much as possible, even if it is sometimes a pain to have to use like multiple platforms.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you a fan of the Meta Business Suite? Like, is that what you typically use?
It is what I use. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a fan of it. If there was something that I thought was like exponentially better that came along, I would be willing to switch. But again, it's one of those things where if it means that my posts are going to see higher reach using their scheduling tool, I'm going to definitely use it. My biggest gripe with it is that it's constantly changing and they're constantly like removing things. Like a year ago at this point, you could schedule 8 weeks ahead. Now you can only schedule 4 weeks ahead. And beyond that, you used to be able to schedule out indefinitely. And so for someone like me who's a social media manager, I love to be able to schedule out at least 4 weeks in advance, but sometimes further if, it's something we already know needs to be put out at a certain time. So that is like one of the downfalls of using the Meta Business Suite for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Meta Business Suite, we have to use it too usually. And there's some clunkiness sometimes that happens with it. And it's like they know that you have to use it. So it's kind of like, here we go, using that. But another question for you here when it comes to like using Meta Business Suite, because this question gets brought up a lot of times with travel advisors is should they use a business page versus a personal page? But you do have to have a business page for Meta Business Suite, correct?
Yes. So the way it works is that you have to have a personal page on Facebook to be able to start a business page on Facebook. In the reverse of this, on Instagram, you just start a business page. You don't have to have a personal Instagram page to be able to start a business Instagram page. And then the next step of this is if you want to link your business Instagram page with your Facebook Instagram page, you have to be able and use the scheduling tool. You already have to have those Facebook pages set up. So it's kind of like a multi-step process. And I think eventually, because the more Instagram and Facebook becomes integrated, the more we're seeing changes. So I think eventually you probably will be able to just create a business page on Facebook and not have to link it to a particular personal page. But for now, if you're starting out, get that personal Facebook page, create your Facebook business page, and then start your Instagram business page and link them all together.
Oh yeah, so it is a process, but once you have it, it's like it's done.
Once you have it and it's set up, you're good for life. And like
Yeah.
it makes scheduling really, really easy, especially because right now in, like the social media way to do things, it's posting the same posts on Facebook and Instagram. We don't have to post different posts on all social media pages. So that's really nice because you can click into it, you can make one post and you're good.
Yeah, that's really cool. And when it comes coming back to like the posts for like Instagram and Facebook, since it is a lot of times changing, but are there certain types of posts that you see do really well? We talked about video, but are there other types of posts that typically just like the algorithm loves and it tends to do pretty well?
So up until this point, video has been truly everything, at least the last few years. However, Instagram just released their like, soon to be changes to the algorithm. And they said that they are bringing back emphasis on static posts, which is just a regular one image post, carousels, as well as giving more viewers to original content. So that means, if you are doing a voiceover, if you have kind of started like a fun trend. I did one the other day where I did a voiceover of a picture of like a beautiful beige office. And then I showed what I really work in, which is a lot of times my bed. And so my voiceover was, show me what you think your work life looks like versus what it actually looks like. So that voiceover can then be used by other people. And so that's the type of thing that Instagram and Facebook are starting to give a lot more of that, put positioning, to put it in front of the most people, that real original content for creators. So they just want people being able to be creative and people to jump on their trends. And so those are some really cool posts that,
That's
focus right now.
That's so interesting because that just makes me think like viral, like, you know how we talk about like going viral. That's like just one video. But now the way to go viral, another way to go viral is just by creating your own like sounds and like the templates of what you're doing. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Huh.
And something that we, in social media marketing have struggled with for, I mean, at least 5 years, but maybe even like 8 years at this point, is organic growth. And so it's really, really hard to get in front of people that don't already follow you. It used to be something that was very easy to do on Facebook, very easy to do on Instagram. But with the, continuous changes with the algorithm, organic growth and impressions is just constantly getting harder and harder. However, video is kind of our tool for that. So it's very, very possible to get in front of thousands more of people that don't already follow you by just simply making videos. So of course we want to give emphasis to that original content. Of course we want to start integrating more static and carousel posts, but I don't want anyone to kind of drop the idea that video is less important because it still will be truly one of the only organic ways to grow your page. And so putting out content that is fun and that people, are interested in, especially in those like first 3 seconds to kind of capture their attention. The more people that don't follow you see it, the more people are going to see it, if that makes sense. So if you can get yourself in front of one person that doesn't follow you and they watch it, then it triggers the algorithm to say, okay, this is interesting to people that aren't already on her page. I'm going to put it out to 10 more people. Obviously, it's not quite that level simplistic, but it's thinking of it that way, where you just want to get your video in front of one person who doesn't already follow you. And that's going to create people that do follow you. It's going to create people that watch for your videos. And it's just very vital to social media plans today.
That's true. And I can't believe I never thought about that until you just explained it that way. The fact of like social media wants all of us to stay on their platform. So how they do that is by making sure that the best stuff is being put in front of them. It literally, now I get it. Like of how it's like, because it's like they always say, going viral, but that's why it's so important to have like the the organic stuff, like you said. That's so interesting. So
Absolutely.
yeah. And so a couple final questions here for you is one, for those who are new to getting started on social media, maybe they've never really taken it as seriously for their job, like where do you begin? How do you start?
That is a great question. So I would say the first thing you want to do is you want to sit down and really think about what type of posts make the most sense for your business. So if I'm using a travel advisor who specializes in destination weddings, for example, I'm going to sit down and look at, okay, who am I selling to? Obviously, this is going to be brides and grooms, right? So people typically between the ages of like 25 and 40. And so that is going to be the start of my demographic because you don't have a lot of analytics yet starting out. And that's something that we'll be able to, you'll be able to get, more information on as time goes with social media. From there, I'm going to say, okay, where are my clients booking? If the majority of what I sell is in Mexico, the Caribbean, then I'm going to say, okay, what are the resorts that I'm selling? I'm going to start piecing this all together, do videos of, the top destination wedding locations under $10,000. Do images from the last destination wedding you put together. Do collaboration posts with the bride and groom to post about their destination wedding. Reach out to your BDMs at the resorts to get photos and videos of the locations throughout the hotel that you can kind of host those destination weddings. And then from there, plan out, okay, I want to do a video, like I said, of the top 5 destination weddings at under 10,000. Then I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to watch for the sounds I hear often. So it'll be clips of music. Oh, I'm seeing this on different videos. I'm going to use this because you're going to get in front of just that many more people because that is a trending sound. And then on Facebook, I'm going to use a different sound because this is what's trending on Facebook. So it's all about kind of piecing together these little bits and then slowly keeping an eye on your analytics to say, okay, I thought my demographic was 25 to 40, but it's looking like it's actually a little more like 30 to 45. Okay, I need to shift a little bit into, budget, maybe location, all of those kind of things where you can kind of monitor and then adjust. Because one thing with social media, like we've said this whole podcast, is it is always evolving, but so are we. And so that's something that we can kind of always be checking in on and know that like because something didn't do well 6 months ago, it doesn't mean it won't do well now. And maybe you take it, you tweak it a little bit to make it more relevant to what's happening today on social media or even just in your business. And it could do, it could completely blow up. You just keep putting in the work, keep putting in like the time, and you're going to see results. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that's a good point that you brought up too with like Facebook, because we use that and we can see like who the main demographic and it narrows it down age. It tells you like, all that. So it's that's really cool. So that's a good point that if you already have that, I mean, you could go look at it now and it could tell you and
Yeah.
you have a good starting place then.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we do forget too is like social media is social. And so like can think of it as a community and not so much as just like I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to sell, I'm trying to sell. Talk to your community. You already even if you have 100 followers, sure in the grand scheme of thing that might seem low, but imagine if like 100 people were in your office and you could just
Yes.
talk to them about your business. That is a lot of people. And so creating a sense of community on your pages is going to bring people to them because they're going to want to hear what you have to say. There's a reason they follow you and there's a reason that they stick around. And so if you can kind of harness the social aspect of social media, you're going to see results in way of sales and, all of the positives that you're looking for on social media as well.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that idea too of like even if your follower count feels low, like think about those people just being in a room with you. Like that's really incredible. So, really awesome. And another question, kind of a little flip on this is okay, now what about the people who are like I literally do not have time. It's like, they really want to try social media, but it's just they just don't really have much time.
So this is 100% of my clients. It's so funny. Every single time I jump on a call with, a potential client, the first thing they say to me is, I don't have time for social media. And it's actually like a headline on my own website because it's so funny how often I hear it. And I always tell these people, you have a full-time job. Social media is a full-time job. So it's understandable that you just don't have time. And we all back burner stuff for our own business because we're working on something for our clients, especially in the travel industry. You're not going to spend the hour you have doing your own social media when you have to put together this family trip to Disney. It's just not going to happen. And so outsourcing is a great tool. I obviously benefit from that because that is what I do. And so but I love to give this example. So for my own pages, How Social, I just don't have the time. Like I said, I have clients. I'm focused on doing their social media marketing. So I hired a social media manager to run my House Social account. She creates all the graphics, she makes the videos. And so I like to really, practice what I preach in terms of outsourcing. I want my pages to represent my business. I was backburnering all of my social media responsibilities for my work. And so I brought someone in that I could, send a video I see, oh, I love this. Can we create this for House Social? Or, at the end of the week, I send her an email and say, these are the type of things I want to see. She sends me emails back like, this is the type of content I need from you. And so it's a really great, like, symbiotic relationship. And so hiring someone like a social media manager or a content creator can look like a million things. It's not just, black and white. They do all your social media, you do nothing. Like there's so many ways to take on a social media manager. And my relationship with each of my clients is very different from each of the other clients. Some of them are completely hands off. They, have said, you got it. Everything looks great. We'll check in once a month when, if we have questions. Others I talk to every single day, all day long, and there's ideas being bounced around. I'm creating content, they're creating content. It's a big, mixture of them. And so whatever you feel like is your vision for your social pages, that can 100% be done, even if you're outsourcing. It's just kind of having that great communication and letting your social media manager know kind of like your style. So for me, like when I take a new client on, one of my first questions is, how do you like to communicate? And if there's someone who is like strictly email, loves to text, whatever that is, then I know, okay, they want to be talked to often, or like they just need to know if I have like a question that is, I just need the details on this, send me a link, whatever. So whatever your style is, there's a way to have someone that can do social media for you in whatever capacity that looks like for you and your business.
Yeah. Oh, that is so I love how you practice what you preach and you have a social media manager for your business. So smart. So then you can put your time, you can dedicate it. And that's a perfect example, like you said, there's time like if you are growing your business right now or you're trying to get into a new niche or something and it's like that's where your time. So get someone else who can do that other side. And so that's really cool. And there's so many like we're seeing a huge increase in the travel industry with like virtual assistants and people who you can just hire for one-off things and all of that. But for House Social exactly, I'll make sure that I put your link to your social media accounts in, but how do they find you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so of course you can reach out to me on social media. You can also email me, which I'll have Stephanie also put in the show notes, but it's just info@housesocialllc.com. You can also go to my website, which is housesocialllc.com.
Perfect. Yeah, I will add that. I'm making notes right now. One other thing, I forgot to ask this, so I'm going to try to get it in now. And I'll put these in the show notes. Is what are all the tools, like your favorite tools that you use? Like I am a tool junkie when it comes to like making productivity better. So what are your favorite ones?
Absolutely. So we've talked about several of them, obviously, on this podcast. ChatGPT is one of them. Another great AI resource is Copilot. It's basically Microsoft's version of ChatGPT. Some people prefer it, especially if you are doing a little bit more in terms of like coding. There's some different resources there if you do a little more like with your own website. I also love Canva. It's probably
Oh,
like my number
yes.
one tool. And the Canva Pro is only $12 a month. So it is like well worth the investment to be able to use all of their tools, all of their templates. Like much like ChatGPT, I will sometimes just go to Canva and flip through their templates to spark an idea for a video or a graphic because I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I feel like I could integrate all of this into this. And so it's one of those things where, you are using it to be creative, but it can inspire your creativity as well. Also, even though, I've had my gripes with it, the Meta Business Suite is great, especially if you're working primarily with Facebook and Instagram. It's giving you all of the scheduling tools that you really vitally need. We also talked about just templates on Reels and TikTok. I love to go in sometimes to just use one of the templates and the pre-suggested music because sometimes using what they're suggesting, and I'm not saying all the time, I'm saying like occasionally will make a video hit more than any other video because it's something the platform is suggesting and it wants you to use. So don't be afraid to kind of just let, oh, add 6 images or videos to this and use this sound. Awesome. Looks great. Done. Sometimes we need to spend an hour on a video. Sometimes we need to spend 2 minutes. It's just, how social media works right now. Um, Other things I use, CapCut, which is an app for video creation. That's a really good one, similar to Canva, but I think it's a little more user-friendly on mobile if that's something you're more into. And then another app I love is called Video Shop. This one is really good for putting together like those small clips of video and image together, especially for travel videos. I've been making this week, one of my clients, she has one of her agents on the NCL Viva in the Mediterranean, and every day she just sends me like 30 clips of whatever she's doing that day, and I can piece them all together, shorten the clips, speed them up, cut stuff out I don't need, add transitions. It's very clean and it's super, super user friendly. I know a lot of times the tools that we use for video specifically can be a little bit confusing. And I hate using Canva mobile. I don't love the way it is, but Video Shop, I would recommend time and time again.
Cool. I've never heard of that one. I'll have to check that out. Cause yeah, you're right. Canva. Oh my gosh, Canva is like the greatest. And I do the same thing too. Look at, templates and especially what the other thing that's really great about Canva is you can set up your branding. And so like if you do find something, you just like click like change these colors to my
Yeah,
branding. It's like, what? That's
exactly.
so
It's so
cool.
nice.
Yeah, it's amazing. But this is awesome. I am going to gather all of these notes. I've been taking notes as you're chatting, so we can put all that in the show notes here. But I just want to thank you so much. This is always so much fun having you on. I think we really do have to do this often because it always is evolving, but there's still a lot of things staying the same. It really is. It's just, yeah, paying attention, just seeing, and just keeping track of your own analytics, I think, at the end of the day. And, well, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that, we forgot to talk about, but any final words or motivation for people to get out there and be social media like successes.
Yeah, I would say like my number one tip is always just start doing it. I often say when I do like a webinar is take one thing I said today, apply it. And then once you're doing it regularly, take on the next thing. And then over the course of a month or 6 months or a year, you're going to look back and be like, I can't believe I did all of this stuff. It looks small when you're doing it daily, but when you grow and look over the course of a year, you've done a ton.
That's a good point. I like that too. That is really smart because especially there's just so many tips and stuff that we can put out there, but just start biting off a little bit at a time. So I love that. Well, thank you so much again. And thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of the Lounge with Travefy Academy. And thank you to our special guest, Amber, for joining us today. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of the latest episodes. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation today and join us again. But for now, stay safe and we'll catch you on the next flight.